welcome to Entrepreneur Wednesday. Today I have the unique privilege of sitting down with a close friend I take as a close friend and someone who is very big in the business side here in El Paso. And so I want to introduce to you all a special guest, Patrick Melton. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate you having me.
Definitely. So C&P Celebrations, LLC. Tell the people a little bit about kind of what you guys do there.
So we've been in business on Easter. It would have been 3 years. What we do is we are involved in everything party related, party rentals, catering. We have party buses. So pretty much everything involved that you would need to have a party, we provide that service for people. And we got into the business April of 2022, and so we're just rounding kind of our third year, a lot of growing pains, and finally got to where it's getting to where it's profitable. Nice.
That's good to hear. So you say everything party rentals, but you do more than party rentals, man. You like, I always like to say, well, every time I say, like, Mel's got a little Jamaican in him. He got like 6 jobs, man. So you guys you rent the buses, tables and chairs.
Yeah.
What else?
Jumping balloons. We have tents, heaters, air conditioners, like the snack tables, just everything that you would need to have a party. We have like even the linens that go on top of the tables. Just everything can be found on our website that we do. And it's not, all of it isn't things that go out every week, but it all goes out at some point. And so we deal with a lot of people that just want everything taken care of, and they don't want to deal with a bunch of different vendors.
Okay, and so, hold on, because I want to make sure people can hear you. I'm going to get you lean in just a little bit. Yeah. There we go. It's a very directional mic, so it doesn't pick up away very good. But now, so you guys have been doing this since April of 2022. I've seen the bus. So you have what, like 3 buses now?
Yes.
I've seen the white one. I've seen the black one, and then there's one more.
There's another black one.
Okay. Now, what are those typically used for?
So a bulk of our business, I would say 75% of our business is quinceañeras. So we'll pick up like at the chapel after they have their service, drive the kids to wherever they're going to take pictures, usually do one other stop and then drop off at the ballroom. We do, like right now, we're in prom season, so almost all the bookings are junior, senior proms for the kids. But we also do like pub crawls, birthday parties, bachelorette parties, various things. But a bulk of it is doing quinces and sweet 16s for the buses.
I know I seen one of the buses and kind of almost looked like a party bus type atmosphere.
Oh, it is
all
a party
the
bus.
Lights. And
you got the Bluetooth stereo, the flat screen TV, the dance pole, the LED lights, the disco lights, and basically they just gonna drive the kids around, let them have a good time, or the adults, whatever it may be.
Okay, yeah, because it was funny because prom snuck up on me. I'm gonna just be 100% real with you right here, and it wasn't until my wife and daughter had been planning the whole thing out and everything. And then the week before, they dropped them and said, "Oh, your prom's this weekend." And so I'm like, I wish y'all had told me. I could have rented a party bus or something for you and your friends. And my daughter was like, "For real?" I was like, "Yes." Sorry about that. I said, "Yes, I could have, but hey, you guys waited to the last minute, so I guess Dad's going to have the chauffeur." So I was chauffeuring for prom.
Yeah, we could have handled that for you.
Yeah, definitely. I would have definitely enjoyed it. I'd had my evening back. But so proms, quinceañeras, do you guys do now? Everything's not local either.
Well, the bus company does service Las Cruces, Ruidoso. Shoot, we've sent buses to Carlsbad, Van Horn. People call us from Pecos and Midland. It seems that that service isn't available in a lot of places surrounding El Paso. I say surrounding El Paso, like everything's not far.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's not a lot of people that service those other areas. So just today I booked a 6-hour trip to somebody from Las Cruces. And, you know, they don't have any companies out there. So they just have regular limos, and people don't want just limos. So
if you're in Las Cruces, you didn't hear that as a business. Keep it all here in El Paso. Keep it all here. Go. Keep it all here. So it sounds like you guys are starting to really get at it and everything, but then you dabble in cooking a little bit. Is that part of the C&P?
Yes. So honestly,
I say dabble, but the man can throw down, y'all.
Honestly, I've got kind of away from the catering. I do it for specific people that have been returning customers. I have a church that I do a lot for. You know, obviously I did some events for you. So that's limited now. Okay. And the catering was good money, but it kept me from being able to be involved in the rest of the stuff, because when I was catering, I was locked down. Like it was all involved, all hands on deck. So I do still do it on a limited basis. I just did a church luncheon for Easter church for a church on Easter. That was a big undertaking.
Oh, I can imagine.
And so it's just limited now, but it's still there. It's still available.
Yeah, because you know, he says it's limited, y'all, but let me tell you, the man can throw down on the grill. You know, we've probably used him for I was using him for virtually every event that I was doing, and I mean, I have no complaints. It's always amazing. You know, I always judge how good food is by how quiet the room gets when the food gets served. There's a lot of talking going on. That food's not very good. If it gets quiet, folks is focusing on eating. That food is very good. And our events are pretty quiet once the food gets served. I'll put it that way.
Well, I appreciate that, Stephen.
Definitely. So what's next for you guys? Because every time I talk to you, you always got some expansion or something you got going on. What's on the horizon that you can let the people know about right now?
What's on the horizon is us finally paying ourselves and stop putting money back into the business. But all joking aside, right now we're looking to expand to having our own facility, our own ballroom. You know, we are associated with that industry in that we deal a lot with the ballrooms, party halls, things like that. So we've got an opportunity possibly to take over an established business that's a ballroom, and then what we would do is we would keep their name because of the branding and stuff like that, but we would integrate the rest of our services into it and just be everything.
A one-stop shop.
Yeah, so we kind of already are that, but once we get the facility to actually host things as well, then it would be everything. It would be all hands on deck, all involved.
Oh, man. So you're setting yourself up nicely for a nice little retirement here, huh?
Yeah, that's the plan.
I have no complaints about that. That is awesome. Well, man, I'm telling you, it's been a pleasure having you on. Is there anything else you want to say to the people before we jump off of here?
You know, I tell you, I got into the entrepreneurial thing probably when it was 3 years ago, so I was 44 years old. I wish it's something I would have got into right after college. You know, my goal right now for my child is for my child not to work for somebody else.
Yes.
Because there's no getting ahead when you're working for somebody else. And it's much more rewarding when you're working for yourself. Like as an entrepreneur, you know, as well as anybody that owns their own company, that does their own company, you work 7 days a week. It's easier when you're doing it for yourself. Because you know what, if I don't feel like going to work, we're just not going to do it. Just like right now, a major part of our business was the catering, and I just flat out said I just didn't want to do it no more because it was too much. Well, I could do that because it was our company. So, you know, my goal for almost all young people, I talk to them about it. I'm a teacher by trade. I talk to the young kids all the time about how much money there is out there to be made. An example, today we had an entire discussion, and I said, man, you want to make some money, go start a pool cleaning business. What do you mean? That's ghetto. That's hood. I was like, you know, my pool cleaner makes more than me. What do you mean? I said, well, I asked him one day, because he charges us $50 a week to do our pool.
$200 a month times 10.
I said, how many pools do you clean a day? He goes, I do about 10 a day. I said, how many days do you work a week? He said, I do about 6 days a week. So that means you're making $300 a day. No,
he's making $2,000 a day.
Yeah.
He's making $6,000. That's $12,000 a week.
Yes. So, and then his overhead's probably at 15-20% for materials, gas, and
yes, sir.
Stuff like that. I said he's making a killing, and that's a cash business. So he don't even really gotta.
We're not going to talk about that right now.
But
we're not going to get nobody in trouble.
So I'm talking to them kids, and they're like, but you got to go do the work every day. Not if you don't feel like it.
But here's my thing, right? And I'm glad we're having this conversation now. You got to go do the work every day if you work for somebody.
It sucks.
and you going in there doing that, and you're hating it.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many niches to get into. And as I got into it, I discovered everything else. Like, I've had conversations with you about branding, digital marketing.
Yep.
Everything that you kind of learn about once you get into running your own business is you wish you would have started it when you were young. And I try to tell these kids, dude, learn how to do something, work for somebody, and then start your own thing.
Yeah.
If it's a trade, if it's a service, whatever it is, learn how to do something, get good at it, and then start your own thing and work for yourself. That's going to be the only way to get ahead.
Yeah. No, it's funny you say that, because I've got a 17, soon to be 18-year-old about to graduate this year, and she wants to be in fashion design. Well, I keep telling them, like, so what's the plan here? Like, are you trying to start your own fashion line, go work for somebody? And they just don't know. No. They just don't know. And it's funny because I refer to myself as a serial entrepreneur.
Same.
And I got that way because I used to watch my dad. We had a convenience store, restaurant. So I'm like 10, 11, 12, 13 years old working in these stores. And what you start to realize is that, yeah, in the beginning, it's tough. It's a lot of work. It's rough. But your income isn't capped.
No. And that's what I tell people. Let's say I want to go on vacation, I go take 2 catering gigs. I'll pay for the vacation, and it's not capped. And you're capped by what you're willing to do.
Yes.
And it's funny because I do a lot of talking to people now that have their own thing.
Yes.
Like all the time. So I'm buying burritos from a lady on the side of the road one morning on the way to breakfast. I went and bought 2 burritos, one for me, one for my teacher's aide. So the lady says, they're $3.50 each burrito. So I paid her $7 for the burritos. I said, ma'am, how many burritos do you sell in the morning? She said, on average, I sell about 100. I was like, well, what time do you start working? She was like, well, I start making the burritos about 4 o'clock, and I usually stop selling about 9 p.m. So from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., which is 5 hours, you're going to make $350 selling burritos on the side of the road. So we're talking
every day.
No, she's got no brick and mortar.
Yeah.
She's got there's no overhead. So all she's spending is what she spends on food costs.
And gas.
And gas to get to her corner. And I said, that's wild. If she comes out here 5 days a week, she's making more than college graduates. And, she could be putting some of that aside to go get her a food truck and things like that. So it really is out there. The money's there to be made. And I was trying to give somebody the idea of, I don't want to go on the roof and clean my solar panels. But I got to clean them because they get dusty and dirty and the output becomes less. I said, I'd pay somebody $50 to get up there and clean my solar panels.
You just reminded me I got to get my solar panels clean. And I'm definitely not trying to get up there. So,
but think about it. How do you find your customers? You get on Google Earth and you go find the houses that got solar panels and you go knock on the door.
But it is that easy.
Yes.
But the old saying goes, common sense isn't common. Right? I still get phone calls from solar panel companies, and I'm like, I have solar.
Did you look on Google Earth, sir? I got 30 panels up there.
It's amazing. And so, yeah, but, you know, all that comes into play in this, and it's like, I'm kind of like you, right? So when I first started this, I was doing a lot of crazy events, everything from funerals to birthday parties to weddings to quinceañeras to streaming out live sporting events. And what I started to realize was that some of this stuff just isn't, I just don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? I don't have to do it.
That's it.
I don't have to do it. Now, you know, but when you make those decisions, it's a bit, you got to understand that there's a give and take in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there is no price that I can put on my sanity and my lifestyle. There's no price I can put on that. And so, you know, I thoroughly enjoy doing the show. I like making the content side now, right? And so that's why I'm always trying to hire these younger kids to come here, teach them how to do this stuff so I can empower them. That's why I'm bringing in small businesses now to talk to them. It's like,
you know, it's a lot. And one of my a good friend of mine is, I do business with him. That's how I got into the party buses. He's got 3 boys, and he started 3 businesses so each one of his boys can take over the business. It's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. We talking about high school graduate, no college, no nothing. Kind of started off like I was talking about, you know, small, doing everything out of your house, and now he's got three inspection stations where they do inspections and sell cars and things like that. So each one of his sons is going to get one, and right now 2 of his sons is grown ones, or one each is running each one of them.
Yeah,
and you know it's impressive, and he's teaching them lessons.
Yeah,
because they're learning a craft, they're learning a trade. You know, they get on the auctions, they buy cars, and I actually tried to get him to come do this. He was like, I don't know what I would say. You just go talk.
Yeah, talk about your business, man. And that's the thing, like for all you business owners out there that are wondering, you know, what am I going to say? Come on here and tell your story. Talk about your business. You got to one of the things that you learn in this whole thing is that business is about relationships, right? And so the more people can understand what it is that you do, the more likely they are to want to come and try to use your services.
Mm-hmm. And you are your business. You know, what you do for people, and the business I'm in is very competitive.
Yes.
Like almost every part of it. And I'm going to tell you, like today I dealt with a lady. She was like, well, you don't have the cheapest prices. She said, but I trust you because you just sent me a professional quote. It came from your website. You know, that made me feel better. So I got that business not because I tried to beat somebody on the pricing, but because I was upfront with everything and the service that they got. And so you really got to be proud of the service that you give, or you're not going to get repeat customers. You're not going to. So you are selling yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Your trustworthiness.
So one of the things that I've been told in doing this. So a lot of people don't realize this. This is going, and I think I've told you this before, and you looked at me like I was crazy. I'm an introvert.
I believe it. Like you talk to your people, but not really everyone else.
Yes, and so people see me doing this, and folks, I'm an introvert, but I thoroughly enjoy sitting down and having conversations with people about things that matter, that I like, right? Mm-hmm. And so I like things like this because I like to learn about business, because I'm always trying to figure out what's next. Mm-hmm. And that's why we started doing this. I was like, how can I help small business owners getting their message out there? Because everybody's hooked on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and wanting to shoot their commercials on there. And the reality is this: you can have 1 million followers. Mm-hmm. If none of them spend money with you, you have nothing.
Yeah, no, and that's another thing, learning about conversion rates. What did my ad do for me? How many people contacted me because of this content that I created? And I'm learning all that stuff. Like, dude, I was 44 years old when I got into this, so I'm learning all that stuff as I go. And that's where these young kids would have such an advantage in doing this. I will say,
but I don't think they understand the conversion either. Nobody really understands what the conversion. Nobody really understands it. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all.
Customer acquisition cost.
Yes, because I've seen some things, and people pay good money to get their product and service in front of other people.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, the best advocate for yourself is yourself.
No doubt.
I was doing the first, when I did the first magazine. And again, pardon me, I don't like talking to people. But, we wanted to try to get advertisers for the magazine. Mm-hmm. And so I'm talking to, it was Mesa Trophies and Plaques. I'll be transparent with this, right? And she goes, you need to talk to more businesses about what you do, because nobody else is going to tell your story the way you're going to tell it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, but she's like, no. I was like, the only way that you're going to grow this thing is you're going to have to get out there and talk to people until you can train your replacement. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing too about being a small business owner, right? It's almost like the military in this aspect. You have to be training your replacement in order for you to free up time for you to grow your business.
Something else, yep.
Otherwise, your business is going to be stuck where it's at. Mm-hmm. And I think once more of us realize that and understand that, I think a lot more businesses you'll start seeing small businesses start flourishing again.
The goal for me, and we're still, as far as a business goes, 3 years is still infancy.
Yes.
So the goal for me is to run my business and not work for my business.
Yes.
And I currently still work. Shoot, I was still driving buses, lost a driver. I'm like, the picture is up there is me sitting in the driver's seat. Like, you do what you got to do when it's your business. So, but the goal is to run my business and not work for my business, grow my business and not be working in my business, and for it to be self-sufficient. And yeah, exactly. Like, we're talking about opening that ballroom. That means that myself and Claudia are going to have to train the people to run the ballroom so that we're not having to go do it.
Yes.
And we can just go in with checklists and see things, and we can be looking at the books and the numbers and how to get bigger, but not necessarily in there doing the work. And you got to train the people, and you got to train our kids. We got to train our next generation so that it doesn't die when you're done with it. And, I will say this. I will say to everybody, support local and support small business. And, one of the things, like right now, you said you got to sell yourself. You are your business. And I'm not going to lie, I do it terribly, and Claudia gets upset with me about it because I'm not the best customer service person. I deal with people well, yes, but I'm not the best customer service person. So when I quote you, I gave you my quote. That's my bottom line. I gave you my best price. It's not a haggling point. You're coming to me because you've read our reviews and they're all 5-star. Like, I'm not going to haggle with you. Like, are you going to go to Starbucks and ask for a venti white chocolate mocha, and then when they tell you $7.83, you're going to say, well, can you do it for $5? Why would you haggle with a local company that's in your community, but then pay the big corporations their asking price? That I support local. I'll always help Steven out. He's local. He's in our community. Anybody else, like, I'll go shop at Vista before I go shop at Walmart. Why? Because Vista's an El Paso company.
Yeah.
So I will ask everybody out there, do that. Support local. Pay people what they're worth. Don't always look for the cheapest, because at the end of the day, you get what you pay for.
Yes, sir. I'm glad you said that about the haggling part. I always say this, people plan events, and the last thing they think about is things like audio, video. That's like the last thing. So you've already paid, especially weddings.
Oh, yeah.
So you've paid this wedding planner all this money.
$20K.
You've paid this venue all this money. But then you want a first-class production for your video, but you want to pay whoever's doing it like they're a high schooler with and it's crazy. And and I'm like you in that way. So my prices are my prices.
Yeah.
If you can go find it cheaper, by all means, go get it cheaper and enjoy the service that you get.
Go do it. Yeah, no doubt. There was just a conversation last night. Somebody wanted Party Bus, they found somebody cheaper. I went to check on it. They left a horrible review for the Party Bus. And it's like, there's a reason that they're cheaper. Like,
Yep.
when I said our prices are based on, what we have to pay for insurance, what we have to pay our people, what we have to pay for our advertising, for our website. There's overhead costs that you don't know about. That's not just gas and paying the driver. And so we set our prices based on what profit margin we want to make, and that's the price. And I can't reduce that price anymore, because then what will be the point of having a business and not being profitable?
Yeah.
So, it's easiest to see in food, because food vendors. Let's say you had an event space.
Yeah.
The food's the most important part of the event. So you've booked your event, you've booked everything. Now you've called me. You want me to do the food. I give you the price. You think it's high. And oftentimes I tell them, I'll tell you what, because I do barbecue, go to Rudy's, ask them to do an event for you for 200 people, and I want you to tell me if that price beats my price. It won't. Like, I'm not gonna go skimp on the food quality so that I can make your price. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you don't like it, you're not gonna come back to me. You're not gonna recommend me to nobody else.
You're not gonna say he gave me a cheap price, but
yeah, exactly.
Like, his food sucked.
That's exactly what they're gonna say. So you got to understand that when you're dealing with small business, more times than not, Stephen Howard and Patrick Melton are going to be more proud of their work than the Rudy's general manager. Yeah. And I like Rudy's, and I know the guy that's the GM there, but it's just an example for my industry. Yes. We're going to take more pride in what we do because it's ours, and we've grown it organically from the ground up, and it means something to us. So
definitely, because this show started in my garage. I just said, "Mom, I'm here."
So did Microsoft.
Mom, I'm here. But no, man, I tell you, definitely enjoy the conversation. Thank you for taking the time to come in, sit down, let people know about C&P. Man, I tell you, folks, I'm just gonna do this last little shameless pitch here. If you're looking for good quality service and you want it done right, and you don't want to have to worry about it, give C&P Celebrations a call.
We did remove the catering from the website. So if you look us up on the website, my phone number's on there. You can call me. Like I said, we will still do it for select individuals, but it was taken away from growing the rest of the business. So we still do the barbecue, but you're going to have to call me from the website.
And the website is?
cpcelebrations.com.
There you go. You got it. And you can find them on Instagram,
Facebook, X, TikTok now. I just got a TikTok. I haven't posted anything yet.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. C&P Celebrations. Thank you, Patrick, for joining us. And, yeah, best of luck out there, man.
Appreciate it.
That's been Entrepreneur Wednesday. Catch us next week.